In addition to the auto-transition mode and the auto-keyframe mode is something new, which is the pin. Now, to demonstrate how this really works, I'm going to delete some of the animation I've already done, and I'm going to focus on this ellipse. I'm going to zoom the timeline out a little bit so I can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to activate the pin by clicking this mode. Now, the help there says you can use the pin to create from and to keyframes with a single edit. Now, that's an interesting concept. It means you don't have to go to move the timeline head around to two different places. You simply move it once, and it will automatically create the source keyframe for you as you create the destination. So, for example, if I was to drag this object down, it creates the source and the destination, or rather the start and the finish, at once. Now, the interesting thing to note is that you're always changing the current playhead position. So if I was to move this point up to here and then move the pin to there, I can do that if I want to, and it's then going to control the movement of that ball and move it down and then off to the left. Now let's try that again. I'm going to undo a couple of those items. What if I was to do that? So I've got the pin on the other side of the playhead. So the pin's on the right and the timeline playhead is on the left. So if I drag that down now, I've effectively accomplished the same thing in reverse. Instead of moving the object down, I've in fact moved it up. So be careful of where the pin is positioned in relation to the playhead. It works quite well if you want to continually move an object around. You can keep moving the playhead, keep moving the pin, and then position it wherever you want, and it will keep inventing keyframes as needed. Bear in mind that if you move the pin to a position which already has a transition or a keyframe on it, and potentially move the playhead somewhere else, then the pin isn't going to do anything in this case. It will produce a new keyframe at the end, but in this case, the pin isn't going to have any involvement because there already existed keyframes at that point. If, however, I was to change the opacity, then opacity would have the effect because the pin had no keyframes in that parameter at that point in time. It will remember whatever the parameter value was at that point in time where the pin was, but then transition to whatever I've changed the value to at the timeline playhead. And that is the secret of the pin. It changes from what the old value was, wherever you leave the pin, to the new value at the playhead.